2016.
Richard Cohen has been a columnist with the Washington Post since Jimmy Carter's administration. He's seen it all, but what he has never seen is a major party candidate for president who he would compare to Hitler. Until now. Richard Cohen's latest must-read column is entitled Trump's Hitlerian Disregard for the Truth. Hitler had his own truth. That is Richard Cohen's point. Everything Hitler said about the Jews, he believed. So it is, says Richard Cohen, with Donald Trump. He doesn't think that Donald Trump is lying about President Obama's birthplace. He thinks Donald Trump believes that President Obama was not born in the United States. And that, in Trump's mind, he was only lying when his campaign staff forced him to say that the president was born in the USA. The reason he did not apologize for having so long insisted otherwise is that an apology would have crossed his personal red line. Like a child, he had his fingers crossed. Donald Trump said something tonight about African Americans that is stupid and untrue, and every child in every American school that observes Martin Luther King Jr. Day every year knows that this is untrue.
African American communities are absolutely in the worst shape that they've ever been in before, ever. You take a look at the inner cities, you get no education, you get no jobs, you get shot walking down the street. They're worse. I mean, honestly, places like Afghanistan are safer than some of our inner cities.
What do you think you just saw? What do you think all those white people sitting behind Donald Trump were just listening to? Were you watching an exploitive politician who knows better, who doesn't believe what he's saying is true? Or were you watching the most ignorant person in the history of American presidential campaigns, who is so deeply ignorant of our own history that when he extemporaneously invents lies like that, he believes what he is saying? Which one of those were you watching? And which is worse? Which is more loathsome, more dangerous? The sociopath who would say that knowing it's not true, or the sociopath who would say that believing it is true? Richard Cohen, who, as I said, has seen it all, including the presidential candidacy of a segregationist George Wallace, is worried. He is very worried because Germany was not some weird place when Adolf Hitler became chancellor, came to power. Richard Cohen sees the Germany of that time as being not all that different from other countries. And he is worried because, quote, in 1933, Germany chose a sociopathic liar as its leader. If the polls are to be believed, we may do the same. We are now only 48 days away from possibly electing a president who thinks that African Americans were better off in slavery than they are today, who thinks that African Americans were better off when segregation was legal than they are today, a president who apparently has no idea why we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day, no idea what Martin Luther King Jr. achieved, what he suffered, how he risked his life and lost his life in fighting for the most basic rights for African Americans. Donald Trump doesn't seem to know that African Americans were not better off when they didn't have the right to vote. That none of us were better off when African Americans didn't have the right to vote, because we lived in a country that tolerated and legalized egregious immorality. A country that normalized vicious immorality toward African Americans on a daily basis. That was the